In this month's episode, we compare reviews in progress for Cyberpunk 2077, plus I use the Force in Vader Immortal, and head back to Bright Falls and Rome in DLCs for Alan Wake 2 and Indiana Jones.
And I've been trying out life on both sides of the law by playing the Precinct and Schedule 1, and also my thoughts on Overcooked 2 and Ultimate Theatre Simulator.
Plus the Xbox Developer Direct and everything we've been up to this month, all on this month's Aches and Games. Hi folks, and welcome to February's Aches and Games, a relaxed check-in between two slightly older British friends talking life, gaming, and whatever else comes to mind. Remember, you can use the timestamps in the description if you're here just for the games chat or any particular section for that matter. And between episodes, why not find us, get in touch on our socials, our Facebook page, or by emailing achesandgamespod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson, at Giles Run West, most places, and joining me as always is my good friend James Hapes. Hey James, how's it going?
Yeah, good evening, Giles. Not too bad. I'm James Boyd 78, 1978 on PlayStation Network, and James Boyd 78, 9532 on Xbox and other places. Do the TikTok stuff and the Facebook stuff and lots of good fun stuff, so please do check them out. Yeah, it's been a really long month in January. I always find, so we should have lots to talk about, but you'll find out over the next hour whether that is the case or not and what we've been up to. So, yeah, it should be a good show. Happy New Year, everyone, and let's go.
Excellent, thank you. I don't believe we've got any housekeeping or people to shout out this month, James. Tell me if I'm wrong, but otherwise...
No, but if there is a fire during the episode, then emergency exits are to the left and the right, so just bear that in mind. Depending on where you are, of course.
Based on our multiple takes for our intro, there probably will be a fire alarm, even though there shouldn't be, because, well, I suppose smoke alarm. Anyway, let's hope not. Yeah. Yes. Fires aside, what have you been up to this month?
I was going to say, based on the quality of the intro, I'm surprised that anyone's here at all listening to this. But there we go. So, lots of things. Like we said, January always feels like it's an incredibly long month of the year, after the excitement of Christmas and all that jazz. You then get January, which is generally murky, gloomy, cold, wet, dark, miserable, occasionally snowy, and very, very long. And it has been all of those things. So, fair play to January for delivering on all fronts, as always. So, we had a couple of days of snow, didn't we, in the middle, which settled for a little bit in where I live. Assuming it did where you live as well, because we live fairly close. And my son Joshua loves the snow, so he walked to school in the snow, made some footprints, did some snow angels, walked back in the snow, and by the time the day was done, the snow was all gone, which is disappointing, but that was nice anyway. Always good to get a full range of weather in the UK. It's one of the many good things about living in England, and is that you get every type of weather on a daily basis, so all good fun. Anyway, so a couple of things happened this month. We started it by going out for dinner with our friend Fran, who Giles knows from a previous party. She doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can mention the fact she was hilariously drunk at that party a year ago. So there we go. But she has a other half called Simon, who's very pleasant. But we didn't know he was very pleasant because we'd never met him in the year that they'd been together. So it was the first time for meeting Fran's new boyfriend, Simon. So we went to a place called Vesuvio Pizzeria, which is just down the road from where my mum and me, I don't know why I say my mum, it's me as well. We live in the same house. Down the road from my parents' house, which is where I used to live until the age of 20. And it's very nice. So we had pizza there, we had a good time, had some chats, had some bants, as people do at our age, I guess. And yeah, it turned out to be very pleasant, so hopefully you should be happy for the long term with Simon. But we shall see. Who knows? The other good thing about Vesuvio Pizzeria is they've just introduced a bottomless brunch, which we never knew about. They're the manager guy who knows us, or pretends to know us, because we go in there on a semi-regular basis, like twice a year. Maybe pretends to know everyone probably, but he comes along, has a good chat and said, being at your special customers, I want to tell you about my lunchtime bottomless brunch. And that's really good. So if you're ever in need of a brunch, Giles, in the Tylehurst area, we just recommend Vesuvio. I haven't tried it out yet, but it's unlimited drinks over a 2-hour period and 2 starters or a main course. It's really full. So very fun menu. If you're in town, pop by.
Did you tell him that you've managed to eat and drink multiple venues out of their previous promotions like this? I'm pretty sure you've left a sort of trail of cancelled bottomless brunches and all-you-can-eat buffets in your midst, haven't you?
Yeah, it seems to have only been when you were there as well, Giles. Although, actually, the last one, me and Sarah did go back a few days later, didn't we? Completely trash the place in terms of food. Yeah, so there we go. So, yeah, we've not tried it yet, so anyone who's in the Reading area, please do pop in before we go there, because no doubt won't be operating a few days afterwards by the amount of food and drink we eat. So that was a good thing. Vesuvio Pizzeria, nice meet with Fran and Simon. All good. Go for your one, Giles, and I'll come back.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't. I actually, you keep thinking I was at that party. I wasn't, sadly, because I was a bit poorly. So I turned up at the door to give you your Christmas card and then
Oh,
hobbled my way off.
yeah.
But Fran's legend travels far, and yes, I know the story, and I was very sad to miss it because it sounded quite fun. But she's no, she's good fun, and very pleased to hear that things are looking positive. Fingers crossed. Well, it's all about relationships, I guess, this month, because that was the big news for me. So we got engaged this month, which is very exciting.
What?
I technically just before we recorded the previous podcast, but it wasn't kind of out there at that point. In fact, I think I told James after the recording himself, so it might have been a bit of a shock to announce
Very
on the
exciting.
podcast. So this is obviously excellent news, and we celebrated mostly by being really ill all week, or not really ill all month. But we both had a bit of a lurgy, but we recovered in time for a lovely party with the Hopesters. So, James, if you're looking on video, James is modelling a kind of love-based shirt, and they. I don't think specifically because of us, which was good because we're a bit sort of shy and awkward about these things, but wanted to do a love theme for a sort of postponed Christmas party. So we had a brilliant party round with them last week, and James, I'm sure you'll mention it too. But yeah, had a really nice time, so thank you. Otherwise, not a great deal. We scaled back most of our plans because of being ill, and it was just quite quiet generally. But my only other notable trip out was I did get back to the cinema, which was quite exciting because I'm a big film person. Haven't been for a while. We've got an Everyman nearby, so that's like a posh cinema where you get food at your seat and that sort of thing. And I saw Marty Supreme, which is one of the Oscar contenders with Timothée Chalamet and Gwyneth Paltrow. And I would recommend it. It was really good. He's not a very likable character. So if you like films where you're rooting for the main character, he's sort of somewhere in the middle, but yeah, he's not gonna sort of win any best parent slash boyfriend slash person awards. But it's really interesting about table tennis, sort of vaguely based on a true story, but with lots of made up stuff, based on a real person, I suppose, with a lot of elaboration. But yeah, it's quite a long film. It's about 2.5 hours, but it flies by. I'm not a massive table tennis fan. I like playing it, but I wouldn't have thought I'd watch a film about it. But yeah, madness. I think it's from one of the directors of Uncut Gems and some other very successful films. So recommend that one. And it's one of the, I think it's second most nominated film after Sinners this year, which I haven't managed to get to see yet. So I tend to try and make my way through the Oscar contenders, or at least some of them. So that was me. How about you, James?
Were you suggesting the other day that it was called Whiff Waff? Or was that someone else who was suggesting it's called Whiff Waff?
I believe it is also called Whiff Waff, but I think I found that out through Boris Johnson. So I tried to put that man towards the back of my mind, although he's now, there's a lot of competition at the back of my mind. Yeah. So, yes, I think Whiff Waff, ping pong, table tennis. Marty was a innovator trying to make it quite a showman type of bit Harlem Globetrotters of the table tennis world. So that was quite fun. And he's certainly a trier and tries everything to be successful and kind of get his face across. So yeah, watch out for it. It's very good.
Nice. You mentioned our love themed party. We always try and have a fun party each year where we decorate. So normally it's a Christmas one. And normally it's quite easy. You've got a Christmas tree and you've got the decorations up already. So there's not much that needs doing. But weirdly, normally for Valentine's Day, we don't tend to decorate the house much for Valentine's Day because it's a fairly underwhelming experience. But for this year's party, we did. So we put up lots of hearts and stuff and there's meant to be a love themed buffet. But in the end, it was some love hearts and a few bits in the shape of a heart with normal buffet. And some love-themed cocktails, which tasted of love, and lots of love-themed decorations, including a love thing on the front door, which is quite nice. So it was a good night. Just the 8 of us, all low-key. Even had a happy engagement banner, which is quite sweet, I thought. It's quite touching. So yeah, lots to look forward to with Giles' plans on that side of things and a nice party. So happy days. Glad you could make it. Wonderful. Didn't do much else in January. Went to a Reading game away in Leighton Orient. No idea why, because the last time I went to Leighton Orient, it was Joshua's one and only away game. He hated it so much he refused to ever go to a Reading game again. And hasn't. He's stuck to it. Annoyingly, I
Smart
didn't
kid.
stick to it, and I've continued to go to Reading games since.
Yeah.
So we went back to Warrant away, expecting it to be much better than last time, and it was even worse than last time. So, yeah, there we go. But we had some beers in a pub afterwards, and we heard about our friend Alex, who also doesn't listen to the podcast, because not many people do. He is a chaplain for Reading Football Club. So we learned a lot about his chaplaincy work at Reading Football Club, and the fact he speaks to the players about bad times they're going through and all that kind of jazz. That's quite an interesting experience, I thought, having someone on the inside of the football club. So Alex is always fairly positive with all the players, even if it's been a horrific game, he's still quite clappy and appreciative at the end. And obviously now we know why, because it would look bad if they saw his face in the crowd and he was sticking their fingers up and abusing them, given he's the chaplain at football. So there we go. So that all made sense, and it was nice to learn a bit more about that one as well. A couple of other little bits. Very exciting time for Joshua in a month, because we went to McDonald's and we were order number 67. So order 67 at McDonald's. So yeah, all of that. So he made a big deal out of it. Got very excited.
For audio listeners, we're lowering ourselves to the me.
Yeah, Giles lowering more than me. There we go.
Yeah.
So the receipt says 67 on it, and he had a little sticker which says 67. So he's kept them both as a souvenir, which is now in the family area, with the excitement of 6-7, which still seems to be going strong, weirdly, after being quite a while now. No idea why still. A couple of little bits. There's an Instagram challenge of posting photos from 10 years ago. Can't quite remember why. So we dug out some 10 years ago photos. And quite a few of my Instagram friends are quite young these days. Quite a few of my work friends are quite young, in their 20s. Me and Giles aren't in our 20s anymore. I barely remember being in my 20s, but I'm sure it happened at some stage based on the photos. So I also went for 20 years ago photos and 30 years ago photos. So obviously 30 years ago, we were kind of like 16, 17, doing our A-levels and looking a lot younger. And 20 years ago, it was just about university type time. So some nice memories looking back through the start of university and other bits and pieces. And Giles might feel the same. Which, we went to different universities, obviously. We both went to lovely universities, but in different places. And very awkward to get between the two, bizarrely. Did you experience in the first year your halls of residence wasn't particularly salubrious? Mine on the photos weren't.
Yeah, no, I was very sad. I didn't get into halls. So I went into self-catering flats. So there were flats of 7. It was sort of almost like a hall in the sense that it was on one site and there was a shared bar, but it was a little bit less social than a hall. So our flat started off quite nice, but obviously it was 7 boys sharing it and the first time away from home. I don't think it ended up particularly pleasant, but no, it was fairly decent. I was determined not to go to a single-sex hall after going to a single-sex school, so I put shared halls down as first, then the flats, and then single-sex halls, and I got my second choice, which was not so bad. So it wasn't quite how you remembered it, by the sounds of it.
Well, I ended up at a place called Whitefields, so it was like similar to you, it's like a flat, but it's on campus. There was 12 of us, 7 boys and 5 girls, and the girls were all upstairs, and the boys were downstairs off the lounge. And looking back at the photos, it's horrific by comparison to what people have these days. So if you looked in our living room, we had a dining table with 6 function room chairs. So no sofa or anything. It's just sitting on a function room chair like you would at a wedding, but less posh. There's a 14-inch CRT TV stuck on top of a pedestal. So there's no TV bench. And my room, I remember now, being directly off the lounge. So you walk straight from the lounge into my room through one door. The walls are made out of paper. So if you did anything in your room at all, or anyone was doing anything at the lounge, you heard everything. So I remember getting complained about regularly. Because I've always been a tapper. I've always drumming along to songs. So someone told me once I sound like a Death Watch Beatle when they came in to tell me to turn my music down because I was tapping too much to it. So those are my nice uni memories. And finally, a question for you, Giles, which I posed on Instagram earlier. Yeah. When you read an email in a work context or a human context, do you, in your head, read out the email in your own voice, in the voice of the sender, in no voice at all, or does it vary depending on who you've got the email from? Discuss.
Oh, I don't think I've ever thought about it, James, but it's not in a particular voice, but I definitely would read it with a certain attitude. So if it's someone who I'm already annoyed by, I'll inevitably, I think is human nature, you can read a perfectly innocent looking sentence and read it in a very passive aggressive voice to yourself. So there must be something going on there. There's definitely not a pure translation of the words into your mind. But no, never thought of the voice. I'll pay attention next time I get an email. Hopefully not during the podcast, because we've all tried to go on Do Not Disturb, but it doesn't seem to be working very well.
But like even on
How about
WhatsApp,
you?
when I send you a WhatsApp, do you read it out in my voice, or do you not read it out in a voice at all, or does it just enter your head without thinking about it?
I think I just absorb it by osmosis through the eyes. Yeah.
Fascinating. I'm very much a voice person, so whenever I read an email at work, it's not visualised because I'm not seeing it. I hit oralise.
Oralised, okay.
Let's go with that. I oralise the person's voice who I'm reading the email from to see how they would have said it, and therefore where the intonations might be in the email and what they might be intended by it. So every email I get, I always picture it in my head. I assumed everyone was the same, but on the poll I've done on Instagram, it's not the case.
No,
it was just me.
I imagine this would become quite problematic unless you're very good with accents as well. Because if you get an email from someone from a different continent, you could really trip yourself up there. You might have to haul yourself in front of your own internal HR.
Obviously, it's not as easy when you don't know the person, but if you know what their voice sounds like, it's just like they're talking to me on a screen. Anyway, fascinating. Go. Please do think about it when you next read an email, viewers, listeners.
And viewers, listeners, remember you can contact us through our socials, through our email address. If you either have a view on this or just want to reach out and ask if James is okay. Either way, that is absolutely fine. Sounds like a wild and crazy month, James. Anything you've watched or done that you wanted to recommend to anyone?
Just to highlight, I'm very much not okay, so there's no doubt about that one. Interestingly, when I watched a Graham Norton show the other night, which is a programme I've watched, he was referring to the thing that we're doing on the video medium as a viz pod.
Yes. This is
I've never heard that term before, Graham Norton. Is it?
Visualised podcast. Well, it is these days. So, like the Traitors Uncloaked, and I think we'll probably mention the Traitors. Traitors Uncloaked is claimed to be a visualised podcast. So rather than just being a podcast that people record, it is sort of sat around in a prop-filled room and with very oversized mics, so that you're very clearly recording a podcast, but in visual form. I think we would probably just count as a podcast with video, but we can call it a viz pod if you like.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
just sounded fun. I've never heard the term before. So.
We've got props, we both turned our rooms around, haven't we? But you've just gone back for the podcast. But I realised I'm back with some decent things in the background now to try and make myself look a bit less like I still haven't decorated this room, which I haven't, but only that bit down there. So this is all fine.
And I'm wearing a special shirt.
There you go. We made an effort.
There you go. Vispod, perfect. So that one was one thing I watched. And you mentioned the Traitors already, so what was your view on the Traitors? Enjoy the ending?
So we have both finished the whole series, so I think it's fair to give a spoiler warning and then just discuss at this point. It's a while ago. It's probably one of the shows that you really do have to watch pretty much live, don't you, these days, or at least nearby, because it does seem to be everyone is talking about it whenever anyone gets eliminated or uncloaked or wins. So I thought it was another great series, to be honest. There will come a time where I think they run out of ideas and it becomes very sort of rote and repeating on the same theme, but not so far. I mean, I think most people thought it was a really good celebrity season, which only finished a few months ago, and how are they going to top that? And then they kind of did, didn't they? There was a whole heap of stuff, lots of drama. Got some favourite characters. Got some very pleased that the people who won sort of managed to see it through all the way, which was good. So no, great show. It's really enjoy it. The only thing that annoys me, is that they show it on 3 consecutive nights each week. So I do feel like just to keep up, I feel like I'm only watching the Traitors for January. But then it's January, so what else would I be doing?
Yeah, every other day make more sense. But interestingly, in the old days of Big Brother and lots of other shows, it got steady quite quickly. So the first couple of seasons were great. And like the third and fourth season, the people going on there were deliberately going on there to become famous, and they had no interest in the show. I felt. But with the Traitors, it seems to be still quite normal people on there. They're hamming up the relationship part each year. Every year, more and more people are linked together in some dramatic way. So that's getting a little bit ridiculous probably next year. Everyone will be related in some way and all from the same inbred family that no one's met before. But for now, it's been quite cool. And like you said, some of the characters are very, very good. I enjoy Jade with her cool cardigans and her generally contentious looks. I enjoy Jade, and she went to Warwick Uni and is a gamer. So we'll have to get her on the show one day. So
Hi, Jade, if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. Hi, Jade. Yeah. And Stephen. Stephen was very, very cool, wasn't he? I don't know how he won it. Same with Alan Carroll, the celebrity one. I don't know how they both won it because they're both not great at hiding their emotions, both very over the top and somehow cruise their way through with barely getting a single vote. Bizarre. Great show. So very much enjoyed it. Hopefully everyone's seen it by now, so we haven't ruined anything. But if you haven't, pull your finger out. Hurry up. Catch up. Blimey.
Excellent, indeed. And Celebrity SAS is the other thing down here on the notes. You've been reality TVing it up.
Always. I accidentally ruined it for Maddie last season because I mentioned the results on the podcast and then she properly kicked off about it. Black and blue, she did. Not really. So yeah, she's confirmed she's already watched the whole thing this time, so it's fine. But yeah, very interesting again. Again, always fascinating that the female contestants seem to always do really well in it. They're not always the most physically capable, but seemingly they are quite mentally tough. And the men that you assume from their brash exterior will get the whole way through tend to drop out of the psychological testing phase, but the women plough through. It's been fascinating to see whether it's just the people they get on there or whether it's just a male-female thing. Who knows? I guess for women, once they've been through childbirth and the drama of bringing up small children, everything else seems quite straightforward. So congratulations to the 3 female winners of Celebrity SAS this year. Great series.
And putting up with people like us, I think, is the other test. But I think we've got, if we do have lots of female listeners, they'll be nodding along. It won't be a surprise to them. But yeah, interesting observation. Well, apart from the traitors, I did watch a bit because I mentioned I wasn't feeling very well, so it was perfect time. Watched The Night Manager, season 2. That's just finished, time of recording, a couple of days ago. Really enjoyed that. So Tom Hiddleston, Olivia Colman and Hugh Laurie in the first series. At least some of them in the second series. Certainly won't spoil anything for anyone. It's really good based on John le Carre book, but the first series was broadly followed the book. The second series is completely kind of imagined on from there, and I believe it might carry on. So kept it up just about. Wasn't a lot of people complained it wasn't quite as good. I really enjoyed it anyway. It's set in South America as opposed to in Europe. Lots of kind of subterfuge, spying, arms dealing, and corrupt politicians, usual type of stuff. But very glossy, very sort of high production values, very sort of good twists and turns throughout the series. Highly recommend it. Similarly, we saw Seven Dials, which is an Agatha Christie on Netflix 3-part series. Which we both enjoyed a lot as well. Again, it hasn't got great reviews, I don't think, but that was a lot of fun. So a lot of Seven Dials kind of combines The Night Manager and The Traitors, bizarrely enough, for reasons that you'd kind of understand if you choose to watch. And then saw lots of films. So the ones to pull out were Life of Chuck, which was Tom Hiddleston again, which I really wanted to see and was on Netflix. That one it's kind of a life in 3 parts, but in reverse order. So I had a bit of a chat with Scotty about this at your party. He wasn't so much of a fan. I think I can completely see why. It's quite divisive in terms of reaction generally, but I thought it was one of my favourite films. It's exactly the sort of thing that I enjoy. Lots of kind of whimsy and thoughtfulness. I thought it did all kind of fit together in the end. There's a bit of a story going on that you won't understand until you get to the end, which is the beginning. And enjoyed it a lot. Just something very different. At the other end of the spectrum was Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery, which is also on Netflix, which sort of ties in really with the Seven Dials as well. Very Agatha Christie-like, referenced a lot of Agatha Christie, referenced a number of other sort of thrillers and twisty-turny things. It was still really good. I mean, it's probably better than the second, not as good as the first would be my review, but Daniel Craig hamming it up with a hilariously broad Southern American accent. So it's good fun, just a bit long, but yeah. So I've been catching up on my films and TV. Oh, and I read a book. I
No.
actually read a book, although I read a quarter of a book because it's 700 pages.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. But it's The Rosefield, which is the third of the Book of Dust, which itself is a sequel-ish trilogy to his Dark Materials. So if you've either seen that or read that, more tales of Lyra, Silvertongue these days. Yeah, it's really, really good. Hopefully I will have finished it. Well, I probably won't have finished it by next episode because I'm a very slow reader. So I'll save my proper review for a while. But we've always joked about, is there anything you've seen or read? I'm actually reading a book. I got it for Christmas. It's a hardback, so I can't read it at bed because I'll probably fall asleep, drop it on my nose and break it. So slowly, but I'm getting there and it's really good if anyone's on the fence.
I've always been a bit of an enigma, weirdly, because I did English literature for A-level and I did classical civilization for my first degree, which involved a lot of books and reading and stuff. And then I've never read a book for pleasure ever since. So, weirdly, I've only ever read books because I've been forced to read them for amusement. Not amusement, but educational purposes. I've never actually read a book since in my entire life, which is bizarre. I write a lot and, yeah, there we go. It's just my bit of fact about myself there.
Maybe next month. Maybe next month. Or maybe in retirement. It seems like the sort of thing you'll pick up again in, what I was going to say is a few years' time, but probably more than a few years.
I've got a few years left.
Fingers crossed we all get to retire early. Okay, but what you have done is played some games, I believe.
Yeah. Interestingly, this part of the podcast is kind of divisive because a few people have said that they love listening to the first half and got no interest in the second half, and I guess some people out there really enjoy the second half, hopefully, and have no interest in the first half. They don't know who we are and why we're talking about stuff. So it's always feels like a bit of a middle point here, so we should probably each month reintroduce ourselves and start the show all over again at this point, but there we go. But for now, we're going to skip on to the games, and yes, as Giles mentioned, I've played a few games in January. First off, I finished a game called The Precinct, which we've talked about twice before on the show.
Should we do the game of the month, or should we do that last?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should do it right in the middle.
Let's do it. Let's do it in the middle. Let's do it last. Let's mix it up. Let's go with The Precinct. Yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. So The Precinct, before I was rudely interrupted again, was a cop drama set in the 70s in America in a V&A city, and it's quite it's half open world, but very much campaign focused. So you can just smash through the campaign like most games, or you can go around, solve loads of crimes and do loads of fun side bits, which I can never be bothered with on games. I like getting to the end to get my endorphin hit for achieving it. So this one, you start off as a rookie cop. Your dad used to be like the chief of police somewhere. So your name is Nick Cordell, and his name was someone else, Cordell. Old man Cordell. Let's go with that. And you start as a rookie, you team up with someone else. You eventually team up with a dog, which is fascinating because I like dogs from work. And you get around solving crimes, you get vehicles in missions where you issue parking tickets, you walk around finding drug dealers to bust. You look for counterfeit goods, as I mentioned before, they're obsessed with counterfeit goods for some reason. No idea why, and everyone gets nicked for having a counterfeit watch for some reason. Not accurate. And the cool thing is you'd go on lots of wild car chases and just chase people and run them over and smash their cars up to try and stop them. And it's fine because that's how you do things in America anyway. You run people over and shoot them, apparently. So in the game, you go through the campaign, you solve bits, you get involved in some cartels. So you collect evidence and bring down some cartels, which is fun. And then towards the end, I won't completely spoil it, but you get given a special mission by the captain of the precinct, the current captain, which brings back the history of your father. And so you do some things and make some moral choices as to how you progress it. And it all hits the papers at the end and the game finishes. So I enjoyed it. Probably about 15 hours in the end, but you could play it for ever because every time you complete like issue 5 parking tickets, you then unlock another area of the city to issue parking tickets in. So you could play it for hours and hours, but I couldn't be arsed. So I just stopped when the campaign finished. But very enjoyable. Good parts. I forgot we do good parts and bad parts now, don't we? Very professional. So the good parts is it's got a campaign, but it is open world, so the game could last forever and it's quite fun. Another good part is very much you can be on the good side of stuff. So if you hate being a baddie, you can actually be a goodie in this one and bash criminals and feel good about yourself. And the final good bit was it's not too complicated, which I like. So it's a nice, easy learning curve. You turn up, you get told what to do, you jump in your car, you drive around a bit, you bust some criminals and you do some things. On the downside, it's a bit fiddly at times. When you make an arrest, you have to read the caution, you have to do a search, you have to check their ID, you have to do this, you then have to call for another car to come and pick them up. So it gets a bit processy when you've done like 50 of them in a row. Another downside, it's not graphically or orally amazing. When they do lots of cutscenes, but the cutscenes are just 4 people standing in a row, not moving at all, and then words appear below them. So it's not graphically amazing, so that kind of kills the immersion somewhat. And the final negative, it's a bit silly. It's not very realistic. So yeah, driving around through streets and bashing down buildings and blowing things up is not particularly realistic, but still good fun. So overall, probably an 8 out of 10. Decent game, not one of my best games ever, but good thing to pass the time, good fun, half realistic, half fun, good experience. Enjoyed it, recommended.
Excellent. Yeah, it was on sale last month, I think, probably around Christmas, I'm guessing. And I remembered you mentioning it before. It looked like a sort of top-down, old-school Grand Theft Auto, but on the other side of the law, that sort of look. And I was very close to purchasing, and then I reminded myself that I have probably thousands of games that I could probably should be playing through first. So I resisted, but your review has reminded me that it sounds like a lot of fun, and if it's included in one of the subscriptions, or if I'm just slightly less disciplined than I was last month, I'm sure I'll jump in. Sounds good.
The other cool thing is you can very much play in bite-sized chunks, so every day you do a certain number of bits, and then the day finishes, it saves, and you start the next day when you want to. So each day is like 20, 30 minutes, so you just give it a little poke before bed and come back the next day. It's all good. What was your first one, G?
Yeah, well,
apart from Cyberpunk.
Apart from Cyberpunk, lots of bite-sized bits for me too. I basically, by sort of design, ended up plowing through a couple of DLCs, so downloadable content for Alan Wake 2, because I bought the Game of the Year edition. It was a bargain in a sale, and in addition, for a limited time, it included the remaster Alan Wake 1. So I think for 20-something quid, I got the remastered first game, the second game, and all the DLC. So I don't usually buy that DLC too often, but I thought, why not? While it was installed, it was taking up a lot of space on my hard drive. I thought I would tackle the downloadable levels, which were Night Springs, which is a little collection of 3 stories. Those people who know Alan Wake and the universe know that Night Springs is kind of like a Twilight Zone type serial that Alan Wake actually wrote some episodes of, and it's this kind of spooky, stupid compendium of stories. You kind of get glimpses of it, I think, in the first game, but in the second game, sometimes it comes on the TVs in the background, and actually, if you do already have the DLC installed, or if you've got the Game of the Year edition, you can then play the episode as you kind of encounter it, which is quite fun. I did play the first one as I encountered it, which was, so Night Springs is 3 about hour-long episodes. The first one is really fun, it's stupid, it's the waitress from the coffee shop who you'll sort of know from the first game, Rose, who's also in the second game, but she plays a kind of obsessed fan of Alan Wake, and it's very sort of American soap opera. So there's an evil doppelganger, there's an obsessive fan who thinks that the main character is in love with her, and then it just goes absolutely bat something crazy for an hour. It's very fun, very silly, very tongue-in-cheek. Enjoyed that one. Unfortunately, the other 2 are a bit shorter and a bit less kind of interesting. There's one with Jessie from Control, which was nice because I enjoyed Control. Good to see her again. And there's one with a character called Tim Breaker who's in the Alan Wake 2, the main thing, it's sort of a multiverse type story, but they were both a bit weaker. Overall, the 3 of those as one piece, I'd say, was a fun diversion, clearly having fun with the kind of weirder edges of the world that they've created. It's more Alan Wake, which is always a good thing. But in terms of drawbacks, pretty insubstantial. You know, you're not going to miss anything by not playing these. The waitress fanfic one was definitely the highlight. But overall, I would say if you're going to spend your own money on this rather than get it included in the pack, It's probably a 6 for me. It was fine. The first episode being the best. However, the other Alan Wake DLC, which was the Lake House, which I'll chuck them together, much more substantial. It's more of a sort of spooky, very much a Control type story. It's based, you play a FBC agent called Karen Estevez, who you encounter during the main story as well. Again, you can play this sort of side mission as part of the game if you wanted to, and she's recounting the story of what happened at the lake house to your main character in the game. I played afterwards, so you get this really atmospheric, spooky, and quite scary, proper survival horror 3 to 4 hour experience in a FBC. What's the word? One of their sort of locations to the side of Cauldron Lake. So what happened? Essentially, you're kind of exploring what happened in this slightly horrendous situation in this particular one location. Really fun. You've got some researchers doing something which they shouldn't. You've got the consequences of that. They're a husband and wife, so there's sort of stuff about their relationship and some bickering. Very supernatural. There's a really good enemy in there called the Painted, and it's a good level. So it's about good length, about 3 or 4 hours, like I say. Some really cool reality bending stuff where you don't quite know what's going on around you. Things are just weird in that kind of fun but unsettling way. And I would say that the music was awesome as well, which is true for, I think, both Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2 also. So I give that a 7.5. Really enjoyed it. It was more of the same, but it was a good use of my time, whereas the first one just felt like hard to recommend. So if you get that on sale, I would recommend the Lake House. So those are my 2 Alan Wakes, and I'll come back with some more DLC in a minute because I've played a few bits and pieces.
I half struggle with DLCs because there's so many games I want to finish that I can't imagine revisiting games anymore. Please, once they're done, they're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like Clair Obscure, lovely game, but there's some extra bits, lots of extra side quests that people try to do, and it's like, the game's kind of done now. What's the point? Anyway, yeah, so that was your DLC bits. My next one was a long game that I'm still playing called Schedule 1. So the Precinct was very much on the side of the law, and Schedule 1 is very much on the side of the criminal. So it's a very strange game. It's kind of a business game, in a way. So basically you start off in a little village with your uncle, and your uncle has been like a bit of a low-level drug producer and distributor around the village. So you kind of take over his empire. You get into trouble with some people first who blow you up, and then you're out on your own, starting from scratch. You ring up your uncle on a payphone. He gives you some advice on how to set up your own little cannabis grow, for example. And then there's lots of process you go through, and certain bits you need to get, certain bits of equipment, certain bits that you use to plant it with, and you pour the watering can, you bury the seed, you watch it grow, you eat your clippers out, you clip off the buds, you put it in a little bag in a little machine, and then you go and sell it to the local neighbourhood. So it's fun, obviously a bit morally dubious. Interestingly, there's a warning at the start of the game saying, by the way, this is not how you really make drugs. If you do this, you'll probably die. We don't recommend taking drugs. Drugs are bad. So it's a good intro to the game. And obviously, I don't do drugs. And in my line of work, it's not something I would ever do. But it's fascinating to get a bit of an insight into how that side of things works. So you start off with cannabis. There's like 4 different types of seed you can grow in different strains that different people like for different effects. And then you can move on to meth. You can do magic mushrooms. You can do cocaine. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. And it shows you the production method for each one. Obviously not the real one. And you can make them. You take over buildings. You take over businesses so you can launder your money because you can't bank more than 10 grand in a week. Otherwise the banks will start to notice. If the police are everywhere. There's a nightly curfew between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. every day. So if you're caught out of your house, then the police will arrest you and take all your ill-gotten stuff from your possession off you. It's not so good. Also, if the police catch you dealing drugs outside, they come and arrest you and they fine you and take all your drugs away. You can recruit dealers. You can find suppliers. It's a fascinating game. It's weird to say, I'm slightly addicted to it. I'm not addicted to the drugs, obviously, but I'm addicted to the game about drugs. It's just really strange. I've always liked business simulations. I always like kind of strategy games. So there's lots of that to it. But also, it's nice to play in the evening when you sort of are just about awake There's no sort of audio to it particularly, so you can put on your headphones and listen to some music while you're playing it. And you get in your beaten up car and you drive from one place to another to take drugs to one dealer, and then you go back and cut some buds and recruit people to do the job for you. And it's just really good fun. So very much recommended. I've seen it on a few podcasts. It's like 90+% on Steam and everywhere else that you can get it. So everyone seems to like it. Fairly simple, very addictive, good fun.
I was going to say, it seems like your sort of thing in terms of the game genre. And I was going to ask how you came across it, but I did see the ratings were very high, but you heard it covered elsewhere, did you? What would you score it if you had to, James?
Yeah, it's just really addictive. It's hard to know at the moment. I'm probably about 20 hours into it now. So, like I said, it's quite addictive. And you gradually move up through the different types of drugs. And currently I'm fighting this other cartel called the Benzies, I think they're called. And they come and try and sabotage your deals and rob your dealers and all kinds of bad stuff. So you're meant to be overtaking the Benzies empire, and you end up, I think, overtaking their manor and having a mass production down the docks and all sorts of fun stuff. So far, I'm probably, I don't know, halfway through, if that. So far, probably about an 8.5, maybe even a 9, because it is really addictive. On the good side, which we're trying to do, it's very simple to get into. Basic guide from your uncle. Everyone you go to tells you what you're meant to be doing, and it's quite simple to get it set up and start doing it, and it's good practical stuff. Like I said, it's a good level of strategy. You can do lots of things. You can recruit people, you can get staff, you can set up automatic supply chain, production links, and all kinds of stuff. So that's good. But also, it's got the nice simplistic bit. So for me, I like doing the occasional bit of admin. I like moving furniture around. So between all the high-tech stuff, even in games, I like doing some quite simple stuff. So your brain just sort of switches off a bit. You can get into a zone and just go and do some things. So it's a nice combination of the strategy side of things, which I like, and the just doing basic things side of things that I like. So that's the positives. On the negatives, it's about drugs. Obviously, it's not ideal, so you can't really play it with Joshua or anyone else for that matter. It's, again, pretty basic. So like I said, there's no audio, there's no speaking people. You just go up to someone, they go, and you go, and that's pretty much it for the dialogue in the game. And obviously, I don't know where it's going yet, so it could last a lifetime. So, like I said, very addictive, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing, because it stopped me from playing lots of other games that I probably should have been playing instead of one about dealing drugs. The end. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, you said I was done with DLC. I've actually got another one, but it was for a different game this time. So I also went back to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and the Order of Giants. So this was one where I think when it was announced, I mean, I loved the first game, I think, or the main game. I think you were quite a fan as well, James, when we talked about it in the last year.
Yeah, really enjoyable.
I generally find the same as you, that I wouldn't go out of my way to get DLC. I'd like to move on and try something else. With Alan Wake, I had it kind of there already, so it was sort of rude not to. With Indie, just one of the few games that I actually really wanted to play more of. I really hope there's a sequel at some point, but happy that they give it plenty of time, get the right story. So this was really perfect. Just a small additional sort of mission, a little side quest essentially, based in the Vatican area that you visit in the main game, but then going off into a completely new area, and so it did feel new, it did feel fresh with a really good story. This one was about 5 hours, probably 5.5 hours, so again a good length. I bought it on sale for 13 quid, but I used reward points that I get from being obsessive by using their searches and clicking the buttons they want me to click. Essentially it was free, but a really good use of that money. It came out in September 2025, so I was playing it now just over a year after I played the main game, so I was ready for it, which was good. And it is more of the same. As I say, it starts back in the Vatican, but new areas. Technically it goes to Rome, although you don't see much of Rome itself. Above ground you see a couple of locations, and I won't say what they are, but mostly you're in the sewers or in the catacombs below the city or below the Vatican. So it's not the most sort of colourful or visually appealing part of the game compared to some of the epic sort of set pieces that you had in the main game. But it's quite puzzle heavy, which is what I really enjoyed about the game. The combat for Indy was a bit clunky. It's sort of supposed to be. He never was very good at fighting. He was just kind of a bit lucky and persistent, I suppose, in the movies. But particularly after a year away, it was actually quite hard to get back into in terms of the controls. It took me quite a while to remind myself how to punch Nazis, or in this case, black shirts, because you're in Italy.
Yeah.
But it's still just as fun and more relevant, timely than ever, probably. So once I got used to it again, really enjoyed it. The puzzles were particularly good. So there's sort of 3 or 4 really big multi-stage puzzles within the DLC. One excellent sort of Tomb Raider-y tomb where you get to, swing around and jump from ledges and stuff. And a couple of really classic indie kind of scenes which made me properly laugh. The sort of thing you can imagine, similar a bit to a scene in The Last Crusade, I think. He's sort of coming out of the sewers with, surrounded by kind of enemies sort of turning up just at the wrong place at the wrong time, and somehow getting away with it. And a very silly one, which would be not out of place really in a Pante, involving hiding behind pillars and kind of being chased around by a baddie trying to find him. So it was exactly what you'd expect if you played the main game, but it was a really good standalone story. It finished really well with a suitably epic ending. I really enjoyed it. More of a good thing. A bit too much of the stealth and the fighting for my liking, but I gave it an 8. I think I gave the full game a 9, and it's well worth your money, especially if it's free.
Yeah, indeed. The question I was going to ask is, when is the best time to play a DLC? Is it straight after you play the main game, or is it a year down the line?
That's a good question. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I reckon, I think you need to want to go back to it. And like you said, it sort of depends how big the game itself is, isn't it? I think if you think about Clair Obscur, that was 35 hours of game.
Yeah.
I think you definitely could do with a break after that. And, that's not even that big, is it? There's plenty of games that push closer to the 70, 100 hour mark. But for Alan Wake 2, for example, it was somewhere in the 20s, I think. For indie, it was about the same, maybe a bit more. I reckon 6 months, something like that. Fresh enough that you remember what you're doing. Although, to be honest, if I've played another game since, I won't be able to control it for a while anyway. So
No chance.
Maybe who cares? What do you think? Did you say you've never played anything DLC, or you just don't tend to?
I think the only DLC I played, there's one with The Last of Us, wasn't there? I think there's a DLC for The Last of Us.
Yes, Left Behind, I think.
Yeah, that was it. So we played that straight afterwards, because obviously we didn't play The Last of Us for like 10 years until after it came out, so the DLC was long gone since then, so we just carried on that one because we were both into it. But yeah, it depends on the game, I think. If the controls are quite complicated, it's probably quite hard to get back into it after a year or even 6 months. So you might waste a lot of time trying to get back into the game. But yeah, like I said, it depends how long it is and depends the length of the game, what type of game it is. So yeah, fascinating question. Full of fascinating questions.
Let us know in the comments, or by messaging us on socials, or our email address, achesangamespod@gmail.com. James, what was your next game for the month?
Interestingly, the next game has some DLC in it, which I downloaded at the time. Yeah, fascinating. What a segue, eh? Wow. Professionals. So Overcooked 2 is a game that me and Joshua played years ago on the Xbox at the time. And again, it was really good fun, because at the time we were looking for some co-op games that were quite childlike and not any adult content at all. And Overcooked 2, as you will know if you've ever played it, is definitely ticking all those boxes there. So if you've never played it, which I'm sure you have, Overcooked 2 involves being a sort of a cook / chef / drinks maker / hot chocolate maker in a variety of amusing venues. So some of them will involve you chopping stuff and mixing it with something else and putting it on a plate and serving it up. So you get menus appear at the top of the screen, like a few at a time, and you're meant to be making the things on the menus. So like in the really early stages, you make whatever it is, like salads using tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce, I think. So some people only want cucumbers and tomatoes, some people want all three. So you make whatever they want, stick on a plate, serve it up, and if you get it right, you get a nice little ting-ting endorphin hit and some points. Good fun. You get given a certain time limit to make as many orders as you can, and you get a certain number of gold stars at the end based on the score for that level. Good fun, nice and simple. The good thing about it is the co-op part, because you do things together as a team. So one of you might be chopping stuff, while the other person is finding stuff or cooking stuff or baking stuff or frying stuff. And in most of the levels, it's designed so you have to work together, otherwise you can't achieve your goal. So, for example, you might be stuck on separate sides of the kitchen with a wall down the middle. So one of you has access to the chopping boards, but one of you has access to the products that you need to chop. So one of you needs to get the products, chuck them to the other person, who then chops them up and chucks them back to put them in a sandwich to then serve up on the other side, and blah, blah, blah. And it gets increasingly more complicated as the game goes by, and towards the end, it's nigh on impossible, but great fun and good for the balance between you and a child or a friend, if you have any friends that like playing video games together. I think we played it once, Charles, didn't we?
I think we probably did, yeah. I'm remembering fond memories of playing that game, although I like the fact that it leads to banter for you, because quite a lot of the time if I played it with family, or I think with Hannah once or twice, it's really fun for a while, and then we just start shouting at each other for managing to completely screw up the orders or set the place on fire or whatever you do. So, taken in the right spirit, it's a very fun game, but it can also lead to some disharmony, I would say.
So me and Josh completed the original game, because once you get 3 stars, once you complete every level with 2 stars, you go into the final boss thing and you do some stuff, and then he goes back and say, why don't you go and get the 4th star? And then the 4th star is much harder, with much higher score, so then we went back and got most of the 4 stars. But during that process, lots of DLCs came out, which is the segue back to DLCs. So when we played it for the first time in about 3 years, a few days ago, we went for the festive DLC. So you got to be a reindeer and a present, and you got to make hot chocolate and s'mores and other cool kind of Christmassy, wintry stuff. So we went straight back into it. We reset our progress for that bit and started off again. And it's just like the old days, you get straight back into it. So good fun. Again, lots of chaos, lots of hijinks on the sofas with couch co-op between a 47-year-old and an 11-year-old. So good times I had. For those, I definitely recommend the DLCs because it's identical games, just additional levels. So it's a nice, easy transition from the original game to the new game. There's nothing more to learn. You just do the same things with new recipes in different locations. So good fun. So we spent a good few hours on that one. We'll be doing it again over the next few days and weeks as well because it's still good fun and very simple, nice and easy to get into and get back out of again. So in terms of score, everyone knows Overcooked already, but in terms of fun, it's probably an 8.5, even a 9. Again, very basic graphics, very simple gameplay, but it's just really good fun and a nice challenge between you. There's not really any negatives. It's not designed to be top drawer in terms of graphics or audio. It's just fun, all gameplay, great times. So that was good. That was my 3rd out of 4 games for the month, which we spent a bit of time on with Joshua for the bants.
Excellent. Yeah, always good to sit down next to someone and sort of share that experience. So it sounds like a lot of fun. My next one was Vader Immortal. So I was playing in VR on MetaQuest. A few reasons I chose this. Partly needed the break from Cyberpunk, which is kind of all-consuming this month, which we will get to. I'd also bought it in a sale a while back, so, I already had it. Felt like I should play it or kind of move on. But also Star Wars was in the news this month because they've changed sort of leadership, haven't they? Kathleen Kennedy, I think, was the kind of head of the studio, and she's kind of left a bit sort of mixed success over the last few years with Star Wars stuff. I think it was once a sort of real event that a Star Wars movie or show was coming out. Now it kind of seems to go kind of under the radar. So it kind of reminded me that I quite like Star Wars and I'd like to give it a try. And also Meta was in the news because they've managed to close most of their own studios, and clearly they're pivoting in terms of their headset into more sort of casual stuff. So all things pointed me in the direction of this. It's not a DLC, but it's similar length. It's only a couple of hours. Think of it as a DLC to the prequel trilogy because you kind of pick up flying over Mustafar, which is the sort of volcano planet that Darth Vader will find himself on. So it's technically 3 chapters. You start off, like I said, in a ship. You get kind of dragged into Mustafar in a sort of fairly standard homing beacon type way, or what's it called, like some kind of ray bringing you down to Earth, down to the planet rather. And then throughout the experience, the 3 chapters were released for £8 each, which is ridiculous because they're all, I think, less than an hour. Incredibly short, but I paid about £10, I think, for the whole thing. I think that was still probably a bit on the high side, but as an experience, it was a lot of fun. You get to fly ships, you get to punch it and go into warp speed, you get to use lightsabers, use the Force, battle giant kind of creatures underground. You get to battle a certain baddie who may or may not be Mr. Vader himself. I mean, the clue's sort of in the name, really. But apart from that, you're kind of climbing around and exploring around using VR. It's quite a strangely tactile for something where you're not touching anything. And generally good fun, but too short to recommend even for the sale price, I would say. It really does show how far VR experiences have come, because it was from 2019, and I think looking back at the reviews from the time, people were pretty impressed by it. You know, it was quite spectacular. It was a decent length for a VR experience back then, because they were very short, and I think things have just moved on. So if you get it super cheap, if you're a Star Wars nerd like me, or if you're just looking for something to use your VR headset on because there's not much out there, I'd sort of recommend it. You'll get a bit of fun out of it as an experience, but as a game, 6.5. It was kind of fine and a bit too short to recommend to anyone. But, you know, glad I've played it, knocked off the list. Won't be buying that again. James?
That's the thing with VR, isn't it? A lot of VR is all for the experience rather than the actual game. I still remember the original PSVR one when you went down that shark cave and then the shark attacked you.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing you really wanted to show your family and friends. Oh, come have a sit through this one for 10 minutes. So really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, never get it again. Complete waste of space. Yeah, so that's good. Just on the Star Wars theme, I've also played a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2 this month with Joshua as well. He loves playing that online with his friend Alex, so he wrote me into it one day. And it's good fun. You just wander around and shoot things and lightsaber people. So that's my Star Wars segue. I'm all over the segues tonight. I'm segueing like a boss. Delighted with myself. Good. The last proper game that I played was, if you remember the name, Ultimate Theatre Simulator.
Yeah. That's it?
Good. That's like a management game. I'll keep it very short because it's not massively exciting. It's great for Giles because you set up your own, you take over a movie theatre. And Giles likes movie theatres. Obviously this one's in America because it's spelled ER rather than RE. But there we go. So there's some basic things to it. Like you go in there and you pick a movie and you actually manually put it into the projection machine. So you open the doors, you take the tape out of the box, you put the tape in, you pick up the end of the tape to put it and spool it into the thingy, and then you close it and you change the bulb on the lamp and all kinds of weird stuff. And then you go out the front, you sell tickets physically at the counter at the front. You then go back to your concession stand, which you've bought, and you can sell popcorn and drinks and stuff. So it's a full movie theatre experience. And then you complete each challenge, move on to the next bigger theatre and start all over again. So again, very simple, not particularly high tech. But again, if you want to pass some time, similar to Schedule 1, there's no sound particularly, there's no voice acting. It's just a game that you play along. It's quite addictive, not quite as addictive as Schedule 1, but still fun. So I recommend it if you just want to pass a few hours doing some very simplistic gameplay and getting an average level of enjoyment out of it. So that's probably a 6.5, 7 at most, but good fun. So I played a bit of that one for a week or so, but then I moved off it to get on to Schedule 1, which is my current addiction. Thank you.
Excellent. Sounds like another Steam game to me. Very much so, and another James game in terms of management. Weirdly, though, that takes me right back, because as James will know, but you might not, listeners, I ran our student cinema at uni a very long time ago. So spooling the film onto the reels and occasionally getting it caught and setting fire to it very much takes me back to those days where we also had to market and then hopefully make a profit. We did just about turn a profit, really at a push in the last couple of films of our season. So that was really good fun, and maybe I'll take myself back to those happy days. Thanks, James. I'll check it out.
Yeah, give it a go. It's quite cheap. There's another few quid on Steam, so go for it.
Well, there you go. My last one's a cheap one as well, and completely different experiences this month, from sort of Cyberpunk being the kind of big sort of blockbustery type, AAA game, through to a VR experience on Meta, and then Monument Valley, a very old game, 2014, turns out.
Wow.
I played on my tablet, so an Android tablet. This is available through Android Play Pass, which is a subscription which I have another free month to because they're desperate to get me to sign up. Hope they're not listening, but I'm not going to. But I'll take your free month. It's only £3 to buy, and there's 3 of them, so £3 each. Also on Apple App Store, it's on PC. Weirdly, it came to Switch PlayStation and Xbox in 2025. So although it's a over 10-year-old game, it's just arrived on consoles. And if you want to play it on consoles, you're going to have to pay about 3 times as much. So I'd recommend just getting it on your phone or tablet, because it's perfect for that. It's not reaction based; it's touch controls. And
Yep.
I played it because I was travelling for work, so I went up to Leeds for a work meeting. It was a long train journey. I didn't take my ROG Ally, and then I tried to play a bit of cloud gaming on my phone on the train. That was a terrible experience. The connection just wasn't there. So I dug out my tablet, and actually it was brilliant. Exactly what I wanted. You guide a princess through these beautiful abstract minimalist levels. They're kind of like mazes. If you know Escher, or those impossible drawings of kind of staircases that you'd go up and end up at the bottom, it's basically that. So you've got these impossible looking levels. You can hit some switches and sliders. You can tap the path to get the character to walk. And all you're trying to do is get them from the start to the end by manipulating the level, sometimes manipulating the view so that it sort of changes the perspective and therefore changes the architecture of the level. Really cool. Just really satisfying little maze-type levels. They get slightly more complicated as they go on, more complex ideas to work through. But they're always logical. A late level, as an example, is this brilliant sort of unfolding puzzle box. It starts off as just a little sort of treasure box, and you start to prod and poke some of the buttons, and layers of this box start to unfold, and you can kind of go through doors and you appear in different sections of the box. It's really very clever. Genius game to play on the travel, and it just reminded me that gaming has such a broad spectrum of experiences. Great for someone who's maybe not into their multiple controls or their shooters. Pretty short in the main game, but then there's some additional levels to poke around with. Perfect for a long train journey. I gave it a 9. I really loved it, and looking forward to the next 2 games, which are also in that subscription. So I will be milking that for all it's worth.
Happy days. I read that Tomb Raider's coming out on Android and iOS in the next couple of weeks.
Indeed.
Fascinating. Never really play games on my phone, to be honest. Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption's already there, yeah, through Netflix.
Yeah, Joshua plays loads of games on his tablet. He plays My Singing Monsters and all kinds of stuff. There we go. Never really got into it. I like bigger screens because of my failing eyesight. So.
Yeah, it's a generational thing.
It's all our games, Giles.
It is, apart from our game that we picked this month. So our love it or leave it option was Cyberpunk 2077. We may have mentioned it once or twice. It could be our first genuine love it or leave it, though, because in previous months, I think we've picked games that we could feasibly finish in a month. This one, I think, well, not to spoil it, James, but I haven't quite got to the end. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely nowhere near, Giles. I'm about a third of the way through the distance that you've got through, so no.
There we go. Available on PS Plus Premium, which is where I think we're playing it, although I actually bought it on Xbox, so I've got a hard copy. It's on PlayStation, Xbox, PC stores, on Switch 2 now as well. Big first-person RPG. What did you think, James? It came out a good few years ago, 2020, but they've made some pretty major updates, so it's sort of called 2.0. They've made some overhauls to the skill system and the vehicle combat and the police reactions and stuff. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, I think it was massively buggy when it came out, wasn't it? So it's nice that we waited so long to actually play it properly, which is nice. So, yeah, it's a strange start, I found. Again, it's the kind of game, like Schedule 1, that you need a particular location and time of day and peace and quiet to play it in. Because even in there's like a character customization screen right at the start, before the game even starts. And you're just plowing through there, and then suddenly you can adjust the size of their breasts and genitals and hair and all sorts. And like, really weird. And then suddenly you got like a naked person on the screen with their bits out. And you're like, what on earth? The game's not even started yet. So that did kind of surprise me.
It's naked attraction, the game, basically, isn't it? You're sort of unexpectedly faced with a very close view of a naked body.
Yeah, you never expect genitals in the first 10 seconds of a video game. Particularly, I don't anyway. Depends on what type of video games you're playing, I suppose. Anyway, so yeah, that kind of shocked me at the start. So I thought, it's the kind of game I'm going to need to play at midnight when there's no one else around, because it's quite sweary, quite nudie. The first mission involves more nudity, You have to start off by finding a lady's body in a bath that you then have to take out to a helicopter to go and reprogram her. And she's got all the bits out as well. You're like, blimey, what game's this? So I think when it came out, the developers said it was a kind of game where there's no censorship involved at all. So the idea is there's a whole world where anything goes. So it's kind of reflected in the video game. So an interesting start. The world I found very immersive. Graphics I thought were very good. It kind of feels like you're walking through a futuristic city. It's kind of a bit sort of big city, New Yorky, Japanesey type, big skyscrapers and lots of crime going on, lots of degenerates around. There's a sort of a fight on every corner you can get involved with if you want to. But yeah, so the actual world itself I really enjoyed. You can just sort of wander around without doing a mission, just sort of take it all in because there's people going around doing stuff and getting involved in stuff. So again, really interesting. It's very futuristic in that you've kind of got lots of cybernetic stuff involved in you, so you can go and get bits upgraded on your body. So you start off with like some cool stripy things on your face, and you can get arms put in, you can get your hands done, you can get your eyes done, so you can identify things when you're walking around. So that's all quite high tech and visual. So again, unlike most other games I've played in that bit, the amount of time the game will probably take puts me off a little bit, but I know you can just follow the objectives, and the objectives are nicely set out because you get a yellow line between each checkpoint. So I like that in games. You can just sort of follow so you know you're on track. Characters are really good. You meet a character initially and get in a car and bust through a border checkpoint and then go on a car chase. So it's nice early action, and you shoot some people. There's lots of tutorials in it to help you hone your skills, which is good. I like that one. There's lots of technology in it, so you can rewind time and rewind videos to find out what happened, and then sort of go in on places to find out the dialogue and find out what happened and solve things that way. So really interesting so far. I'm not far into it. I'm only like 4 hours into it, which is our minimum monthly allowance for these kind of games. But I'm definitely in some ways hooked. But so far I've only managed to play it in really small chunks because it's finding a time and a location with no one else around is proving quite challenging. And when I tried to play it in this office the other day, and Joshua kept walking every 2 minutes, and I kept having to pause it, and then I kept pausing. He thought there was something really exciting going on, so he kept coming back in. I was like, Jesus, I'll play this again. So I put it on hold for another day. So hard to fit it in, but I'd definitely finish it. Looks good so far. What are your views, Giles?
Yeah, a smart kid, and he's going to listen to this, and he's going to realise that it's worth walking in on you. I'm enjoying it. I mean, the world's interesting because like I said, I've got a physical copy which I bought in a sale before it came on the subscription service, and one of the things that comes with is a sort of little compendium, like a world compendium, which I had a read of, and I'm glad I did because it gave a lot more background on kind of how all the rival factions have sort of come to be, and really gave a bit more sort of flavour, a bit more depth to what's going on, which I feel like wasn't very well highlighted in the early hours of the game. Night City is like this mega city. They've kind of split away from the sort of federal government in the US, and there's a few of them around the world, and there's been all these different sort of factions and wars going on, and it's quite an interesting little read. That sort of helped bring it to life for me because, like you said, it's just this cool anything goes type city, lots of violence, lots of sex, lots of drugs again, but like you said, the sort of I think is it called dream weaving, where you get to go into the something like that. You get to go into the sort of recorded memories of people and sort of do some detective stuff. That's always good fun.
Yeah,
Rain
DB
dancing?
or BD?
Rain
dancing, wasn't it? BD
Rain
definitely.
dancing. There you go. So, that was fine. That might be from something else, dream weaving. But it's the same sort of concept, and lots of games will have that kind of detective mode where you can kind of slow things down and dig into stuff. That's quite fun. We, I think, chose the same. Did you start as a nomad? Was that your background?
Yes.
Yeah. So we had the same start, which, like you said, was really good. High action chase. There's a very good heist very early on. I don't know if you've got to that yet, but there's a sort of hotel heist with your friend, and that's quite dramatic. Lots of stuff happens after that, so I will not spoil it if you've not got there. There's twists, there's double cross. You meet a character called Johnny Silverhands, played by Keanu Reeves, who you may know is in the game or not, but that's he's a major character throughout, and he's very interesting. interesting, and that's a completely different, takes you off in a complete tangent from where you think you're going. So, story-wise and world is intriguing. The thing I'm struggling with is that as a action game, I think it's brilliant. There's some excellent set pieces. I've probably had 3 or 4 so far, maybe 4 or 5 in my time, and I'm about 15 hours in, I think. But there's so much going on, all the different factions, all the different things you can do in Night City, all the stuff around you as you even just try and get from A to B. And I'm not finding myself really drawn to any of it. I'm sort of going from story beat to story beat. I've done a couple of side missions, some good, some pretty terrible. And none of it's encouraged me to really go off to the side. And these things, I always feel like there's a reason why you need to get to the next place. If there's someone going to die or blow up, or someone you need to see who's kind of a big shot criminal, I feel like I shouldn't keep them waiting. So I kind of like to just plow through these stories, and I think that's how I've got reasonably far in the game within the month. But it feels like a shame, because I think I've been doing a little bit of reading around it, and a lot of people seem to enjoy playing it multiple times as very different characters, sometimes not even doing the main story at all, kind of speccing their character completely different. I don't think that'll be me. I think I'll be playing through this one. Suspect I will enjoy it, and enjoying it so far, but hasn't quite clicked for me as a brilliant game. My experience so far, I'd give it a cautious 8 in a sort of review in progress style. Love the story, enjoy the world, like the feeling of everything being alive around me, but I'm finding that and the stats all a bit overwhelming, to be honest, and I feel like I'm just kind of missing out on lots of experience.
I think even for me initially, I've only played a few hours, but then I'm playing it in really short bites, and it's really hard each time to get back into it a little bit, to remember where the weapons are and how to get from one to another, and so some weirdness in there. And also, like in Indiana Jones, I think side quests seem to pop up, but then you can't work out if you've accidentally followed a side quest, and that's where the marker's taken you, like in Indiana Jones, or whether you're still on the main one. So that's confused me a few times, but they seem to be merging together a bit, so we'll see. I'll get it. So I'm enjoying it. Question for you: did you pick a male character or female character?
I picked a male character.
Did you? I always go female in every game. Every game I go female.
I usually do. I usually do, and I'm glad I did for things like Mass Effect. I think Femshep was definitely the way to go. Stuck with her for the whole trilogy. I remember Sunset Overdrive, I had a tip-off from someone that the male character was really annoying, so I picked the woman on that one, and really pleased because it was really well acted. I went with male V for some reason this time, but maybe, again, this is quite a cipher, they, male, female, or other, are quite a cipher, aren't they? There's not really a huge amount of character to them from what I've experienced. So I think maybe that's it, why there's... I haven't really noticed, to be honest, that I'm playing a man or a woman. It doesn't really feature, I don't think.
Maybe it's just because I didn't want to see a penis in the customization screen, maybe. Who knows?
Possibly, but then you don't... I mean, beyond the customization screen, I don't think it features, but maybe it comes into the story later on. Your choice of genitalia.
In Claire Obscure, for example, I played with a purely female group. My first.
Okay.
Whole battle team were all female. Always went for my LCL and other thingy, the one that floated around.
Luna,
yeah. Yeah, so I always went for 3 females. No idea why. Maybe I've just got a very strong feminine side. Who knows? Anyway, it's a good game. Lots to go. I think I will continue playing it, but again, I'm going to do it in bite-sized chunks, I think. So whether I ever fully get immersed into it like some people have, I'm not sure. But a good game. No problems with it. Yeah, like Giles said, probably an 8 at the moment, but it might get better or it might get worse. We shall see.
Excellent. It sounds like we're going to be playing that for some time. So we have, however, picked a new game for February for Game of the Month, or the Sub-Club, or Love It or List It. Love it or list it.
Love or leave it.
Love it. Sorry, Kirsty and Phil. What did we go for, James?
Interestingly, we had a few debates, didn't we? Some minor ones, not mass ones. And we had some options to consider. But in the end, out of the blue, I decided to go for Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. Completely from left field, because Giles had put it on his notes as being a game that's coming out soon, maybe even today. depending on what day you're recording it. If it's the 3rd of February, then it's today. Who knows? Like to keep it mysterious. This is about a person called Trigger who has been accused of murder. So has been put in I nearly said penal. He's been put in a penal squadron, which is like a squadron. whole different game. Anyway, so he's put in a special squadron full of criminals. And it's like an arcade style combat battle aircraft simulation type game. So it's not meant to be really high tech like some of the aircraft simulators. You're meant to be able to get into it easily, like you're playing at an arcade. So it's designed for it to be a nice, easy get into, which is what appealed to me. So you take part in a war between two places, which both end in C. I think there's like an ERC and an OC or something similar. No RUC. And this battle continues, and you have a campaign. You can do a bit of other stuff as well, but you start off with quite a low-level aircraft, maybe a C-16 or something, from memory. And as you complete the missions and get the points, you can then upgrade your weaponry, you can upgrade your aircraft, and you gradually move up the ranks in this battle thingy. So it sounds interesting. I've not taken part in a combat-type aircraft game since probably like Desert Strike back in the 90s. I don't think I've played an aircraft game where you shoot people for years and years and years. Never been interested in aircraft simulators. That seems far too hard to get into and too complicated. So I've no interest in that one, but it sounded quite engaging and immersive and fun. So hopefully it will be a good crack. Have you ever heard of it, Giles?
I have heard of the series. This is from 2019, so it's not desperately new, but there is a new one coming out this year, or came out last year, weirdly. So I'm familiar with it. I haven't played this series, I don't think. The closest I can come to it is a lot of sort of space flight type things. So I played, X-Wing back in the day. I think there was it Rogue Squadron or something, which was a Star Wars game. Descent I really enjoyed as a it was sort of like a Doom-like, but you were flying around in a plane. The problem I usually have is I end up getting completely disorientated and sort of finding myself reversing the controls to try and make it make more sense, and quite often then confusing myself even more. So I look forward to seeing if I can function at all. Oh, I've also piloted planes in things like Battlefield, and I've always, if I ever get in a plane, I'm in the pilot seat, I have to apologise to anyone else on the chat because we're all going to die. So yeah, it could be really fun. I'm looking forward to giving it a try, but yeah, it's like nothing I've played for a long time. So that is a plus and a minus, and we'll see how it goes. James, I don't know if you saw, I think also, I don't know if it's still active, but there was potentially a VR mode, and you've got PSVR, haven't you? And I know you haven't had much use out of that for a while. So if you could check this out for us and report back if it is up and running. It may have been discontinued. I couldn't quite tell from the notes that I was reading. But
however, I do get quite motion sick playing VR, so I think spinning around in the cockpit might be the end of it.
Excellent.
Yeah,
well,
maybe best avoided.
If you want to see that, write in, listeners and viewers, and we'll put a video up of James looking very ill.
No one wants to see that. Just a final bit. This game's meant to take about 12 hours in campaign mode, so that's about the right level. So we can decide after 4 hours whether we want to carry on or not. And also, it's by Bandai Namco. It doesn't involve any band-aids, as the note suggested. So yeah.
Autocorrect was playing havoc, wasn't it, in our notes? And it's as you said, it's coming out today on PS Plus Essentials. So at the entry level for PS Plus subscription, you'll be able to download it and keep it as long as you stay subscribed, as long as you do that in the next month.
Why not give it a go and let us know what you think?
Why not? That would be good. It's always good to hear from you listeners. Awesome. Right. We have also had a quite busy news month, or at least quite a major stream this month. So before we wrap up, thoughts on the Xbox Developer Direct, James? I think all 4 games, despite being Xbox Developer Direct, they are produced by Xbox or Game Studios, but all 4 are coming to PS5. So if you're listening and you think, oh, this isn't for me, I've got a PlayStation, it is for you. And all are play anywhere or play on Game Pass if you are in the Xbox ecosystem. Did you see the stream, James? What did you think? Anything that grabs your fancy?
Sort of highlights. Obviously, Fable we've talked about before, haven't we? Has been something we're looking forward to. So Fable looks like it's quite cool in the demo / example / videos. Combat looks quite fun and quite slick and quite fast, and all looks quite exciting. So yeah, I've never played any of the original Fable games, so we still need to do that before I play this one probably. But yeah, it looks really good in the previews. Hopefully, it's going to come out being good. Obviously, Forza 6, depending on how you want to pronounce it, Forza or Forza. I think it's in Japan, this one, isn't it? So it's a bit different than some previous Forzas. So always enjoyed Forza games in the past, as does Joshua. So again, it's something we'd probably play if it came onto a subscription service. And you're like the other one by Double Fine, weren't you, Giles? Because you are a big Double Fine fan.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm with you on Fable. I have played the first 2 anyway. I've not played the third one, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because I do own it. It was like a free Games with Gold back in the day. Really enjoyed the first 2 Fables. I don't think you do need to play the originals. And this is a complete kind of reboot. And I think from what I've heard that they haven't aged wonderfully well, but I am curious to go back to the originals. Agree with you about Forza Horizon. I'm looking forward to that. That's out in May, so that's not that long. There was also Beast of Reincarnation, was the third game, which I thought looked really cool, actually. It's described as one person, one dog action RPG, which I think is a brilliant sort of literal translation from the Japanese presenter. But mix of turn-based and sort of live combat, which, you know, did pretty well for Claire Obscure. So let's see about that. And it's a nice sort of mixture of nature and post-apocalypse. So I thought that looked really good. It's from the Game Freak, who make all the Pokemon games. So interesting twist. Sorry?
Mr. Dog.
Yeah. One person, one dog, but the dog is huge. They should have made that clear in the summary.
Massive dog.
No, didn't do it for me, I've got to say. It was a tough sell, I think. But I did then go on and watch the trailer, and the trailer did work better for me. So I think it might be one of the things that is more fun to play than to watch. It's a kind of creative brawler. I used to love a game called Power Stone back on the Dreamcast back in the day. And this has that kind of crazy party game type feel about it. I don't think it played well in the reveal. And to be honest, it was up against 3 massive, very sort of visually impressive, very striking, exciting games. So I don't think it was ever going to really do well there. But hopefully it finds its audience, because I do like Double Fine. I enjoyed Keeper, despite your naysaying, and I loved Psychonauts. So this year just looks insane already in terms of what you can get. So if you've got Game Pass, all 4 games you said, if it comes to subscriptions, all 4 of those will be included in Game Pass this year, as will lots of other things. I have no idea how I'm going to get through all these, but I hopefully will get to experience some of these in the coming decade.
or even how you fit them on the hard drive, because Forza games are normally massive as well.
It's a big one.
Definitely. You have to get an entirely new hard drive for Grand Theft Auto 6 as well. Like 3 or 4 hard drives on that one. Madness. Anyway.
The pain is real. The pain
long
is
way
real.
away yet. It's a nightmare on the PS5 at the moment, because I have to keep getting rid of a game if I want to play anything. So I'm stuck with Cyberpunk now. If I want to carry on playing it, I can't play anything else because nothing else fits on it. So, hey ho.
There you go. Need to wrap it up nice and quickly, James, in the next 4 or 5 months.
Yes,
probably. Yeah. Cool. Well, you won't have space for any of the new games coming or announced on subscriptions. It's been a ridiculously busy month, so we won't go through all of them. But there's also stuff announced that I think you've got your eye on. You mentioned a couple of games in our notes that you wanted to talk about coming soon that you'd like to bring people's attention.
We already talked about Reanimal before. That was the sort of spiritual successor to Little Nightmares 1 or 2. One of those ones from the same company that did the originals and not the company that did the last one. So that looked really good, didn't it, on the preview we saw a couple of months ago. So that's coming out this month in February, middle of Feb, sometime 16th?
Yeah, 13th of Feb.
There you go. So, it's that Friday.
Yes.
It could be Friday, couldn't it? Yeah.
It is a Friday, yeah. Bad luck to anyone superstitious.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to that one. Obviously, Death Stranding's on subscription, but I can't even imagine getting around to playing that one. So the two fun ones that I noticed were a game called Norse, Oath of Blood. My dad used to love reading books about Vikings back in the day, so this one looks quite Viking-y. So there's a strategy RPG element to it, but there's also a sort of a settlement building type, making allies with other people and doing fun stuff. So it looks really good in the demos and stuff. So looking forward to that one. Whether I get around to playing it depends how long it takes to beat. If it's over 50 hours, I'll probably never get around to playing it. If it's about 20, I might give it a poke. And a fun little game called Monterey Jack. As you might know, Monterey Jack is a type of cheese, and this game is very much cheese-based. And I've put in the notes some fun cheese stuff. So I think you're stuck in a cheese factory being chased by a cheese monster. And if you look on the Steam description of the gore elements, which hopefully Giles can see in front of him and might read out for me because I can't remember it.
Well, it just says most of the gore is yellow cheese, but there is some blood.
That's right. Yeah. That's a game in a nutshell, I think. There's a massive cheese monster that looks quite scary, and the cheese monster chases you around a cheese factory. So it's meant to be like a survival horror type game, but revolving around cheese. So if you like survival horror and cheese, this might be the game for you. That comes out quite soon as well. So lots to look forward to, Jazz.
I have been called a massive cheese monster in the past as well, so that's strange. Both games are sort of mid-February on PC by the looks of your notes.
Yes.
So imminent ways to spend more money. I will not be spending money because looking at the subscriptions, there is a absolute smorgasbord of things to play, either added in the last few weeks or coming up. Just picking highlights. Star Wars Outlaws, I really want to play. That got added to Game Pass last month. Resident Evil 8 got added to both subscription services last month. However, I already own number 7 and need to play that first, so welcome backlog. Space Marine 2 is supposed to be brilliant, a really good dumb shooter that came out last year. That's been added to Game Pass, as is Space Marine 1, which I still need to play. So, again, more duplication. I need to find ways to clone myself. The Talos Principle 2 was also added, which is a puzzle game, which I really enjoyed. If you like Portal, it's quite similar to that. That was also added. And Avatar, the Ubisoft game, I can't remember, something about Pandora, I think is probably the subtitle. Avatar has just been announced as coming to Xbox Game Pass 17th of February. So, I mean, that's like, plus there's a new Like a Dragon game being added to PlayStation plus a different one added to Game Pass. So Realistic and Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I think is like 100 hours long, has also been added. So there really is no chance that anyone's going to play all this. I did put down that Speedball was a remake of Speedball was launched as well.
Love Speedball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive fan of Speedball in the 90s.
It's gone down with a real sort of damp squib. I think it's not as exciting as I thought. But given that there's 1,000 things to play for free, I won't give it a try. But yeah, the nostalgia was real when I heard Speedball was coming out. But it's a good time to be a gamer if you got a subscription. I know the prices have gone up, but there's plenty to play and great choices. And yes, I might need to win the lottery and clone myself because that's just never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a job or a family life, then your quid's in. Well, if you ain't got a job, you probably wouldn't be able to afford a subscription anyway. But if you've got the time for it, there's loads to fill your time with. Also, Undisputed's on there as well. I really wanted Undisputed to be a really good boxing game because there's never really been a good boxing game for years and years and years. But it's meant to be awful.
I was going to say, have you seen the reviews?
Yeah. Looking at the recent reviews, it's like 45% on Steam, and it says that the punches never connect anymore. You just punch straight through the person. It doesn't register. So, yeah, I won't be playing that one just yet. So that's there we go.
Have you played any of the Fight Nights? EA Sports Fight Night?
Years ago.
I think a couple of those are on Game Pass if you fancy some boxing. They're pretty good. Yeah, because I think one of them was in the sale for like £2 or £3 again over Christmas, and I was like, oh, I'd like to give that a try, and then realised it was already in the subscription. So another £3 saved.
Amusingly, back in the 90s, I played a game called Boxing Manager as well, or Ring Manager or something.
Of course you
Rings
did.
Or something. That was good. That was good fun. It wasn't graphically advanced, but it was good fun. Like Championship Manager, but with boxing at the time. Also played a game called Horse Racing Manager as well. Every kind of sport I've managed over the years. Good. Carry on. Sorry.
I think we're getting a sense of your predilections in terms of management and ring management by the sounds of it, but I won't ask too much about that. On that bombshell, I think that's probably our show. Please, listeners, viewers, remember to like and subscribe to the podcast. Consider giving us a 5-star review. We always say consider it. Just do it. Yeah. You don't need to consider it. Give us a 5-star review. That would be wonderful. It does help get this in front of more ears and eyes, and we could do with that because, we can't retire anytime soon. One last reminder. Oh, no, that's a note from last month. I haven't taken off. Why not? Our Games of the Year pod dropped over Christmas. Go and have a look. It was great fun. If you missed it, you'll find it on the normal podcast feed. I'm pretty sure that was last month's note that I haven't deleted. But still a great episode. Go and have a listen. And why not come over and interact with us on our socials or email us at eggsandgamepod@gmail.com. I'm Giles Nicholson. James, any last thoughts?
No, not really. It's way past bedtime.
It really is.
Better go and put Josh to bed and do some things. So nice seeing you, Giles. Congrats again on the anniversary. Thanks everyone for listening this far. If you've made it this far, congrats. Anniversary engagement.
Anniversary.
Yeah, blimey.
I guess it's a 0. It's like a 0 anniversary of the engagement. So
there we go. Congrats on whatever it is you've done anyway. And for everyone out there, thanks for listening, and we'll see you all next month for another Aches and Games, where we'll get the trailer a bit better next month.
First Friday of the month. See you then. Bye.